Hey everybody, this is Ardwulf, and welcome to another episode of Ardwulf Presents, the second and last video from Guild Wars 2 Beta Weekend 2. This time around, I am going to give you a very brief run-through of the end of the Queensdale zone, and give you my thoughts as to where this game is right now. What we're looking at here is, I think, God's Lost Swamp, which is kind of the tail end of Queensdale. Now, this touches on one of my the task in here, by the way, is a level 15 task. See a little level in red. That means that Queensdale content ends at around level 15. Now, if you zoom in on the map, at the south end of it, of the swamp, is this little settlement down here, which leads you to the next zone, by the way. And there's a waypoint down here. As you can see, I've completed everything in Queensdale. Okay, I've done all the skill challenges, all the points of interest, all the waypoints, all the tasks, and I've done quite a few events, many of them more than once. So this leads me into my one issue. I'm not quite going to call it a criticism with Guild Wars 2 so far, and that is the structure of leveling progression. Now, this is something that a number of people have already pointed out, and you'll find that there isn't quite enough. If you go through a zone, at least with the human starting zone, Queensdale, and I suspect this to be the case with other zones as well, based on what I've seen and heard, there isn't quite enough content to get you through all the levels. And by not quite enough, I mean it's not really close.
Don't you ever get tired of helping?
Now, there are two caveats to that. One is the one thing that I'm not doing, which is gathering. Almost everything that you do in Guild Wars 2 gives you experience. So if you gather, you will help take up some of the slack on that. And I also didn't do the personal storyline until kind of close to the end, and that'll help as well. You do actually get a fairly fat amount of experience out of the personal storyline. And so far, I'm reasonably happy with the Human Noble storyline, by the way. A number of people have criticized it for apparently not being Star Wars The Old Republic level of depth. It's not.
Everything you need.
But I don't think that that's a particularly serious criticism. Now, the reason I think that that's not a very serious problem is because there's a lot more to do in Guild Wars 2. The personal storyline is just kind of one angle. We're going into Kessex Hills now, which is the level 15. I'm not quite level 15, but hopefully the other players floating around here take up the slack. We're going to check with this scout here to see if there's any.
The Lion Guard strive to protect the trade routes to and from Lion's Arch. But times are tough, and our ranks are wearing thin. Bandit holdings are quickly growing throughout the wilderness of Blackhaven, and I fear things will only get worse if someone doesn't step in.
Now, you might have noticed on the map that I've kind of gone through some of this content already. Not the content, but I've gone through some of the zone already, just to unlock some of the waypoints. Let's see how well this does.
My strength fails me.
At level 11, you start to
Try harder.
fantastic. At level 11, you start to
Seriously.
get points which you can use to unlock your spec, which I'll show you right here. If we go to the Hero tab and we go to Skills and Traits, I've dropped 4 into Air because I feel like the Air attunement is a little more effective. For the most part. Let's see here. I'm kind of dependent in this zone, although this hasn't been too bad so far, of with following other players around. So this person is a level 15, so they're the right level for this zone. And well, I've made a little bit of progress on this heart so far. I think I might be turning something in. Nope, I'm not. I'm just going to sit here and take damage. And of course... Oh, well, there we go. A difference of a level seems to make it a fair bit of difference depending on your spec. I have definitely, with the Elementalist, which is the class that I've played by a lot, the most so far, I have definitely noticed a difference in the effectiveness of some specs over others. For example, the Earth specs, I really haven't managed to make them effective, particularly the main hand dagger Earth spec, which I think is not terrible. Is this guy level 8? Wait a minute. No, he's level 15 too. It's a good person to follow around. Not a huge thematic difference between this and the last zone, really. I do have a defensive utility ability now, which is helpful. So, and we are making some progress here. What can we do here? Kill bandits, steal bandit supplies, and destroy bandit cannons. I haven't seen a bandit cannon so far. I took that on the chin. I don't know if there's auto loot or not. I have yet to be sufficiently motivated to check that out. I do like the air spec quite a bit. I like air and fire the most so far, from what I've seen. Tab targeting, a little bit flaky. Less flaky than it was in Guild Wars 1 by a lot. Yeah, but we can eventually take this thing down. And it looks like this ability gets more powerful as time goes on. Alright. Now you may have also noticed that in the second zone appears a little smaller in terms of content, in terms of the types of content that are available. I don't know if that's true. Oh, great. Dodge works great. I've had zero problems with it so far. And I got a fat bronze out of that. That's okay. I don't mind. I'm really just trying to complete this heart. I'm curious to see how much XP I'll get out of it. Looks like I might need 1 or 2 more to complete it. These guys in here seem kind of tough. I wouldn't say extraordinarily tough. Certainly their cannons seem to have a lot of health. And you can see they've got some kind of neat little tree things. I wonder if you can go up there. I'm not sure I'm quite... Yeah, let's cut down this tree. I'm not sure I'm quite motivated to do that right now. Oh, I got a daily achievement. Good, because I actually ran out of money at one point. And that may have something to do with the fact that I was not crafting, or gathering, for that matter. I assume you probably get XP for crafting as well, actually, now that I think about it. Engineer over there. And we got the heart. Got a good chunk of XP out of it. I wouldn't say a ton. So far, also here in beta, I wouldn't say that I've seen a ton of players. in a lot of these parts of the zone. It's totally plausible that a lot of people have kind of passed me by as far as the leveling curve goes. I mean, I'm level 14, not super high. Let's go back up here and relax for a moment and check the map. Let's see, we have an event down here, repel the centaur attacks. We'll give that a shot. That is likely as anything to end in total disaster, but we're going to try it anyway. Let's see how we get up there. Now, like I said, I did go through, kind of cruise along the road here. That's a level 16. I hear noise. Noise is good. I see a sign of... There we go. We got some player action here. It looks like they just completed the event without me, which is alright, as long as somebody decides they're going to go off and do other stuff now anyway. Looks like we got a waypoint up here. Every little piece of exploration, of course, you do get XP for.
Armored up.
So I'm trying to find this waypoint here. Ah, there it is. Very good. Waypoints super handy because they are this sort of currency that lets you, not currency, but they're the kind of mechanism that lets you navigate the world. This guy's gonna smoke me. Oh yeah. I'm not going to even be close unless somebody else comes in here and decides they're going to kill that thing. Which looks like may have happened, actually. So my concerns then are so far with the fundamental design. I mean, this game's the beta here is as clean as most games are at launch. There's no doubt about that. It's very crap. It is very clean.
Breathe.
That is actually kind of a handy escape type ability, to be honest. I don't know where these people are going. I think they're trying to follow me. I've seen a lot of that. People are trying to follow me. I don't know where I'm going, man. I'm not even of level for this zone. And I've never really done anything in it before. So let's go check this heart out up here. At this point, I am already invested in Guild Wars 2, as are probably 95% of people in the beta. We have a merchant guy, escort the caravan type thing, which... if you're familiar with escort quests from, say, WoW, where they are almost invariably a giant pain in the ass, these aren't nearly as tedious here. Mostly because you usually have a huge group of people just like this. I'm going with main hand scepter and offhand dagger here. We'll go to Earth. I think we still have an ability to unlock there. I've unlocked the great majority of the Elegon list's stuff at this point. I've unlocked everything for the staff, everything for main hand scepter, and I think I've still got a couple to go for offhand dagger. And actually, the main hand dagger is primarily short ranged. Actually, let's go to that. Yeah, we've still got a couple offhand. I'm fighting 2 daggers here. Main hand, offhand. It's one of the relatively small number of available weapon combinations for the Elementalist. They have, I think, the smallest number of... Oh, that's fantastic. Go to air again. I've found that this is the most effective and most fun main hand dagger spec for me. Plus you get this cool ability. It looks cool too. Yeah, being in the front, not such a good idea for the low level guy. It's not really a caravan, is it? It's one pack animal. So there's some action up here.
This'll be fun.
Oh! Oh, we're just taking it on the chin here, aren't we? Of course, I'm not exactly playing it conservative. I'm gonna go with the trigger healing ability and our armor ability here, and back off a little bit. And of course, as an elementalist, you also don't have the ability. Staff is long range and AOE, which is helpful for this. I should have thought of that earlier. Map. Looks like he's got to go quite a ways. Which is all right. Looks like we've unlocked or discovered another task. One thing I have also noticed is here in round 2 of the beta, and part of this is probably because the player density in any particular area has been quite a bit smaller, but the lag and performance issues are way lessened. I had to turn the settings down to close to minimum last time just to really make it playable in certain areas. And now I'm playing with it turned all the way up. The default maximum settings, I should say. I didn't go out of my way to... Oh, so we have a large herd of centaurs up here. I didn't go out of my way to... Didn't go out of my way to... that was a waste of time. Didn't go out of my way to look for other settings that I could turn up, but that went well. Yeah, you can see, especially in the circumstances that I'm in right now, the long range AOE considerably more effective. Let's go to fire. You have the fewest weapon combinations with the Elementalist, which of course means that you have the fewest different ability chains, but that also, because of the attunements, you actually have 4 times as many as anybody else based on the number of weapon chains that you have. So there is no shortage of abilities with the Elementalist at all. And it looks like we have succeeded at the event with gold contribution, no less. Now, I'm not entirely sure how that works. Frankly, it seems a little flaky to me, since I've come in a couple times, done like a couple pieces of damage, and gotten gold contributions. So I'm not entirely sure how that's determined. You see there's a quest objective on my map here too. That's for the personal story. As far as I can tell, oh, we have a waypoint. Awesome.
I just keep getting better and better.
Let's take a look at the map. Let's go in and repair, since that's necessary. We have actually quite a bit of money. Here we go.
What do you need?
Broken shield guy is
Always
the
happy to
repair
see
person.
customers.
And let's see if we can sell some junk while we're at it.
Thank the gods.
Like I said, I'm not... you know what I am doing, though, is I am doing salvaging, because that's just smart. Do I have any other salvage items? Oh, looks like no. Double click on these. We don't want to just dump those. You do also get these mystic chests, by the way, which is kind of one of the scarier things about Guild Wars 2. I've unlocked, I think, 2 of them at this point, 3 of them. And all with keys that I've gotten from the personal storyline. Or, in one case, from completing the Queensdale zone. And that has... I hit level 15, awesome. And none of them have contained anything that I would consider vital stuff.
Do not trifle with things you do
It
not
says I have a...
Shut it,
Yeah.
Centaur, or I'll gut you where you stand.
You'll do nothing of the sort. What she says is true. She's
Okay.
here as an
So I have another
emissary, and as such,
perk ability
she is
here,
under
or
our
trait
protection.
point, I should say. Throw that there. And now this moves 10%. I move 10% faster when attuned to air, which I tend to do. So the chain lightning is pretty cool as the primary air auto attack ability. It arcs from opponent to opponent. So if you're in events or things where there's a lot of other players, it's super, super, super handy. And when I get to 10, then I get to throw these traits, one of these traits things in. Let's see here. I don't know if any of these are worthwhile or not.
We've received word that centaurs have been attacking merchants under Lion Guard protection.
That's
Then
fantastic.
you have been
Anyway,
given faulty Sheriff.
in the final analysis here, and at this
But I'm also
point,
not in
there
a
is
position to
likely
take
to be
action.
at least a
Who
couple
protects
more
you now?
of these
But
beta
now you
weekend
take
events.
action?
I am pretty pleased with Guild Wars 2. There's this sort of issue where you don't have enough, quite enough content to finish a zone unless you kind of go out of your way to do the events multiple times. But I mean, just kind of on your passage through the zone, you're going to end up doing some of the events multiple times, unless you're kind of going out of your way to ignore them. And I don't recommend that you do that. I also recommend that you follow the personal story as far as you can. And actually, my personal story at this point, you do scale down to your personal... let's check this out. You do scale down to your personal story. So you can kind of do it like I did and kind of do it all at the end of the zone, and you'll scale down to it and get gains appropriately. But I recommend that you do the personal story. I recommend that you do the crafting. I recommend that you do the harvesting, because all those things will help to alleviate the quote-unquote issue with not having quite enough XP content in the zone. And again, I'm not really convinced this is a major issue. I think, especially considering the events, I mean, even on my last pass through Queensdale after I'd hit level 14 and I'd completed all the on-map objectives of the zone, I was still stumbling across events that I had not seen before. And in some cases, those are phases of previous events that had gone off and had ended a certain way last time, but had ended a different way this time. Like there's a farm, for example, that you can repel the bandits. And if you repel the bandits, hey, great, you've repelled the bandits. But if you don't, then the bandits take over the farm, and you have to expel the bandits from the... And I mean, functionally, it's pretty much the same event, but the objective is different. So it felt a little bit different. Generally speaking, I am pretty... it's somebody fighting something over here. I'm pretty happy with Guild Wars 2. Like I said, it is in as good a shape in beta as a lot of games are at launch. It looks terrific. I really like the main mechanism of the game, which is that you explore your area. And the zones are... It's a zoned world, but the zones are pretty big. This zone is not hugely different in feel from Queensdale. I don't, from what I've seen so far. But Queensdale itself has some pretty different stuff in it. I mean, you got this kind of big, gloomy, murky swamp, which is actually the part of the zone that I had the most trouble with. I actually stumbled into Gendarin Fields too, which is the 25 to 35 zone, and I managed to make my way back to Queensdale without having a huge amount of trouble dying on the way, and I unlocked a couple of points while so doing. You can see kind of the zone, the clear zone boundaries here, and I think I've pretty much explored all this, even this kind of like back trail where this last skill point was, which you can get to it from up here too, but I didn't see it. I didn't explore all the underground stuff, so you got, for example, you can go to the underground. Looks like I did do Bandit Hut Caverns. But there's some other underground stuff here that I didn't get to see. And in Divinity's Reach, I have done, which is where you get the upper level, because this upper city is kind of like the big castle that you see in the screenshots. The Great Collapse being the giant hole in the city. And there's some stuff up there. The Queen's Throne Room is up there, for example. This is all pretty cool. Pretty happy with the world layout in general. Looking forward to exploring some more in the live game. And I think at this point, while I may fiddle with it a little bit, and you may see another video or two out of me during the Guild Wars 2 beta, I think I'm about done. I've gotten to level 15. I finished the first zone for the human side, which is I'm probably going to play a Norn when the game launches, and I may do the Elementalist because I really like the Elementalist. But I started a Norn Guardian and I liked that. Didn't get him very far, but I liked it as far as I played it. I started a Norn Engineer and I liked that as far as I played it. The classes I think I wouldn't like are probably the Necro and the Mesmer, but I may try those at some point as well. We'll see. But I'm kind of stuck on sticking with one character at least through a couple of zones. I want to see as much of this world as I can. By the way, this also looks like the second zone looks like a human zone, so I don't. Although I may have seen a couple of other races floating around. Now, the one thing that will get me back into the beta is if in the next round the Sylvari and Asura are in there, because I'll go in and grab a video of that. But so we'll see. Can you add me to guild? Why is this guy asking me? I don't know if I can add him to the guild. Anyway, see if I can reply.
I carry only the highest quality goods.
The tell sound is a little bit subtle. So anyway, the main thrust of my play in Guild Wars 2 is pretty much completed until launch. I don't intend to try and force my way through this game any farther than this at this point. I like pretty much everything I've seen. I anticipate having a lot of fun with this. The reason I say that the quote-unquote lack of content in the zones is I don't think a problem is because I don't really have a problem taking my time leveling. And the zones make the events make the zone feel fairly dynamic. So you can actually go through a zone a couple of times and end up doing the same event more than once. And I think there's one like retake the camp from the Centaurs thing that I probably did a dozen times. So I mean I didn't have anywhere close to the amount of XP that I needed, but I don't really mind that. I don't insist that I force my way through this content rapidly. I think MMOs are better appreciated at whatever pace that you like to appreciate them at, and if that's a slow pace, I think that's okay. I don't mind if it takes a while to get to level 80, which is going to be the cap at launch. There we got a player who's nope, he's an NPC, never mind. Green are the NPCs. I have seen a few Char and Norn PCs floating around in here, though. Not in this zone, though. So, with the end of that, I think I will zoom us down to Lion's Arch and wrap up the Beta Weekend Experience 2 video series. Continuing my standard practice of showing you the entire load screen. for its entire duration. Load screens, I would say, are a little long, not hideously long, but I think I mentioned that in the last video. Unless you're going to Lion's Arch, I guess. No WVW, VW for me this time around. That's probably something I'm just going to wait to get to when the game launches. Lion's Arch, very pretty, as is the rest of the game for that matter. It does make a difference. I think it looks pretty good on low settings. It looks really nice on the highest settings. And I haven't tried to leave this zone or anything. So, and actually there's a bunch of Lion's Arch waypoints and points of interest that I haven't discovered yet. So I'm going to save that for the live game, I think. I felt like I've put a significant investment into this guy now, and I don't think I want to do any more until it counts. So I hope you've enjoyed this and other videos, and we do have other videos coming, maybe from Guild Wars 2. In fact, probably from Guild Wars 2 once the Sylvari and Asura go live. In the meantime, there's a wealth of videos in the channel. I encourage you to check those out. We have a whole bunch of other games that we've talked about and done videos showing you the features of. So check those out. There are more of those coming. There is a new show coming. Down in the notes below, you will find a link to my website at ardwulfslair.wordpress.com, as well as links to Ardwulf on Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. So check those out. And I hope you've enjoyed this little peek at Guild Wars 2 Beta Weekend Experience 2. Have a good one.